It's a rare sight, a noctilescent cloud, just like a neon in the sky. Hey, everybody, I'm Stargazer Mark, and we're so glad you're with us to stay star curious on Stay Curious as the American Space Museum bridges the space between us with a program on Mondays that we try to center around stargazing from your own backyard. You can see so many things from your own backyard, and when you're looking there, no one owns the original. You can do whatever you want with those stars up there in the sky. Photograph them, draw them, just look at them through binoculars or a telescope, and all kinds of things. That's the uniqueness of being an amateur astronomer, is you can do with what you want and then see the whole cosmos from your own backyard. What we're looking at here is something that many of you in the northern climates should be looking for the next month or so. It's called noctilescent clouds, and this is actually the debris left over from meteor dust that gets condensed ice around it and glows sometimes in the middle of the night, particularly the upper latitudes of our northern hemisphere where Robert Law is up there in Dundee, Scotland. Robert, you might see this blue neon noctilescent cloud in the next month or so. So keep an eye open for it up there. So we're all glad that you join and watch us on Stay Curious. Marty Winkle, my cameraman and co-producer, has been with me faithfully for more than 2 years as we brought you 570 episodes of Stay Curious. Everything from astronaut interviews to our Stay Curious stargazing program we're doing today. So tell your friends to watch us on YouTube. They won't miss out. There's all kinds of history there to see. Plus on Facebook, we have all 2 years racked up there for you. But check us out on YouTube as we have monetized YouTube. And that means we're making a few cents every time you get to watch. That's why the ads are there. So every time you watch an ad, we even get a little more money for our nonprofit, and that's very important to us. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about stargazing. These 5 planets are in the morning sky. All right, so you want to check all those out. Many of you have for the next week or month, several months. The moon is new phase Sunday. All right, it was full phase, of course, a week ago Sunday. So 2 weeks later, it's going to be new. So a week ago Sunday and a week ago from today, we were talking about that fabulous lunar eclipse that was the bloody moon eclipse with that golden, not golden, kind of a coppery red color to it. So 2 weeks later, we're going to have new moon, and that's next Sunday coming up. So the moon is last quarter, and you're going to see it turn to crescent phase in the pre-dawn sky. And we'll show you a chart of how the planets are aligned up from Venus to Saturn for you to see. And then just in a few short months, those planets are going to be in our night sky. And then we'll be having some big stargazing here at the museum and on the Space Coast. And across our fruited plain, all the amateur astronomers will be getting their telescopes up this fall to show you Jupiter's moons, Saturn's rings, and Mars' surface in November and December as it comes close to us. So let's look, before we get into a little bit of stargazing, with my red flashlight, of course. I've got a stargazing guide book that I picked up at a yard sale for just 20 cents, and it's even got a moon map in it. These are the cool things to find. Or get you some serious star charts like this one showing you Virgo that's overhead, and you can find where those Virgo galaxies are even with a pair of binoculars. So you don't need expensive equipment. You just need a desire to get in your backyard, get cozy back there in a nice, comfortable chair, away from neighbors' lights, a comfortable snack, drink, maybe radio with Bluetooth on it, and absorb the night and just become part of the night as this starlight enters your body. And it does enter your body because starlight and all light has 2 properties of physics. It acts like a particle. That's why photographers bounce their light off ceilings and walls and so forth. So that particle of light is actually bouncing off your retina in your body and registering itself. Think of that. as you're getting a lot of starlight at night. And then as far as the colors of the stars you see, that is like the colors of the rainbow, another the dual property of light. It acts like a wavelength where the light's refracted from red to blues, okay? So this is one of the unique things about light is it acts like a particle and it also acts like a wavelength. And so get out and enjoy as much as you can. Well, let's look at a little bit of space history as we love to at American Space Museum. First up is these two astronauts I ran in today at, say hi to Brazilian astronaut Marcus Pontus there on the left and American Bruce Melnick. Bruce Melnick is the astronaut coordinator at the Kennedy Visitors Center complex. And speaking for the next couple of days is Marcus Pontus. He is Brazil's first and only astronaut. He was also the Minister of Education for Brazil and then the Minister of Science and Communications and all of that involves with our STEAM education. So I had a great conversation with Mr. Pontus today, and he might come Wednesday and do a Stay Curious that we're going to record for you. We'll see if I can get him here at the museum. Bruce Melnick, thank you for all you've done to help our museum, particularly 10, 15 years ago when they were raising money for the shuttle monument out of Spaceview Park, just a few blocks from where Marty and I are right now. So fun to run into them. There were some Brazilians there at the museum, at the Kennedy Visitors Complex, and I'm going to post a picture on Facebook with them mobbing him. A very personal country, and Brazil actually has some spaceports that they're developing that he was responsible for getting. And we want to wish a happy 64th birthday to ESA's Thomas Rieder, an ESA, European Space Agency astronaut, who has uniquely lived on the Mir Space Station and the International Space Station for about 6 months each. Thomas Rieder was born May 23, 1958 in Frankfurt, West Germany, and a total of 350 days in space ranks in the top 25 among space flyers. He is now involved with ESA as the former director of human spaceflight, and he is now an advisor to the director general of ESA, or equivalent to the NASA administrator. So happy 64th birthday to you, Thomas Rieder, and maybe we'll get to talk to him someday when we talk to some of our ESA friends. And a little bit of space news out there that pertains to astronomy, because this is the planet Mars that we're looking at. Mars is in our morning sky. I'm going to have a little toast to Mars there, thank you. Well, Mars Insight is what we're looking at. You forget about this stationary lander. Excuse me. It's on a part of Mars that is experiencing a dust storm. This is mid-April, about 2 weeks ago. Look at the dust covering the solar panels, starving this probe for energy. It did record a Mars quake about 2 weeks ago of nearly 6 on the Richter scale, the strongest quake ever recorded on an alien world. But it is squeezing out as much science as possible amid dwindling power supplies. It's about 1/10 the power that it had when it landed several years ago. So it has 1/10 of its available landing power of 5,000 watts. So it can only do science for about 10, 15 minutes a day. What it had was it was trying to drill into the Mars soil, and that didn't work out too good. But it has a Mars quake detector that is on the surface also. That's what the robotic arm there is for, as it moves it around. So it's going to squeeze out as much science as possible. NASA scientists said last week at a press conference. So, but it has been a very successful Mars mission. Also, another successful Mars mission. The days are numbered for Ingenuity. The same problem. Its solar panels are getting covered with dust. You'd think they'd put a little gas can or something of air up there, Marty, to squirt to blow some of this dust on. I know it's another commodity they have to deal with, but you would think they could figure out a way to really put some compressed air up there. Our friend in the computers, right? Compressed air to clean out our computers. Well, Ingenuity, scheduled to do 5 flights, has actually done 28 flights, far beyond its design limits. 55 minutes of flight over 4 miles. It has actually scouted areas for Perseverance, the rover, to go to, and it actually saw the back shell and of the reentry devices and the parachute laying there. Phenomenal images we showed you. So Ingenuity, Jenny, you've done a good job and lived beyond all expectations. Pioneered aviation on another world. And you may have heard that the Chinese rover, shown here, is also gone into safe mode while a Mars dust storm is covering it with dust. This solar-powered Mars rover is in a dormant state, and it's going to try to hold out off till winter is done on Mars and power up in December. Zhurong is the name of the rover. It started hibernation last week. Temperatures are around -4 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 20 Celsius, during Mars's day, and plunged to 150 below zero at night. You think that Mars is more hospitable than they let on, but no. A real warm day on Mars is 30 degrees at your knees. All right, then at the top of your head is probably going to be 0. That's how thin Mars' atmosphere is. It just won't hold any warmth. But the Chinese have said that their Zhurong is going to. It arrived last May. It's been there a year. So they're going to try to have a few tricks up their trade to power it down now, get through the winter. Then it has solar panels that it can angle, which the rovers that we had solar paneled, the Spirit and Opportunity did not have that. So it's expected to resume activities in December. And another quick note, Marty, thank you for telling us that 10 years ago, Elon Musk's SpaceX company made history and became the 4th entity after United States, Russia, and China to launch a spacecraft into orbit and return it back safely to Earth. An achievement that fundamentally altered the course for the next decade of space exploration. This Dragon right there, C2-3, was also the first commercial spacecraft to dock with another spacecraft in orbit, of course the ISS, and it was the first commercial spaceship to return cargo back to Earth. And I was telling Marty a little bit ago, he brought this to my attention when I pulled up the picture. I said, Marty, that didn't have its own docking thrusters and so forth on it. They had to grab it with the robotic arm on the ISS and then attach it to the docking station there. So think about this. 10 years later, the ISS has a SpaceX Crew capsule attached to it, a Boeing Starliner capsule that is not crewed, but one day will be, and a Russian crewed Soyuz docked to it. So 3 crewed spacecraft are docked to the International Space Station right now. Amazing what has happened in the last decade of our rocket renaissance. Yeah, let me go this way to show you the stars at the night, or not necessarily the night, the pre-dawn sky. This is about 5:30 in the morning. This is the hour of many of you like to get up and mosey around, including my buddy Marty here. He's an early riser and likes to get up and get stuff done in the morning. Bless all you people's hearts, because I'm a night owl. I'm used to going to bed at midnight and getting up about 8, not going to bed at 10 and getting up at 6. But that's why the world's full of different people. And those of you getting up early, the planets are laid out for you like this, all right? Venus. And then you've got Jupiter and Mars and Saturn. And Saturn's way up to the upper right. The moon is the biggest object that we're seeing right there on this stellarium. This is the planetarium on your smartphone or on your computer. like aquarium, stellarium.org, a free download, a beautiful program. You can zoom in and it would show you where the moons of Jupiter are at that point in time I freeze grabbed this. So if you get up early and you've got an eastern view, you're going to definitely see Venus as super bright, and Jupiter will be the next brightest object up there. You'll probably see Jupiter first. Of course, you'll see the moon first, and then Venus is rising way about an hour after Jupiter does, and Saturn's way up at the top, up there, upper right. Here is the same look with the constellations drawn in. Venus is in Aquarius, Pisces, and the Jupiter and Mars are between Aquarius and Pisces there. And Mars isn't going to look so bright, but it's going to look reddish, all right? But when the Earth's movement around the sun moves, these planets they're shifting to the right. They're shifting towards the west, all right, as it moves across our orbit. So come about August, all these planets are going to be in our evening sky, all right? And they're going to be beautiful to see. So we'll be talking a lot about them and showing people through telescopes what it looks like, and showing you pictures here on Stay Curious what that looks like. So the moon tomorrow morning is going to be near the planet Neptune, all right, which you can't see except without a telescope. And then it's going to move Thursday night. It'll be about real close to Venus. And 2 nights from now, it'll be close to Jupiter. So the moon is moving to the left, getting closer to the sun. That crescent's getting thinner. And about Thursday morning, when it's near Venus, it's going to be a real thin crescent there. So, of course, if you have a telescope, any kind of telescope, you can see the moons of Jupiter and the rings of Saturn. If you have a real good telescope, you'll really enjoy looking at that. All right, going the wrong way, Peach Fuzz. Well, here's this picture of this beautiful noctilucent cloud. Noctilucent, noctilucent, which means of the night. Let me go back. There's our astronauts. And these high-flying night glowing clouds appear in northern hemisphere observers. Not heard them in the southern hemisphere too much. But like I said, Robert Law, thank you for watching on YouTube. Tom Celentano, he's watching on there. Ophelia Sauterelle in Normandy, France. Rarely do you see this phenomenon as far down as Paris, and even, of course, down here in Florida, not too much of a chance to see him. But Dave Stange and Larry Pushker, they might be able to see it up in Michigan. And I'm not sure about Tom and Mark Usiak in Pennsylvania watching today, but it's worth a shot to try to see these clouds. What's going on is these high altitude clouds are typically 50 miles above the Earth when ice crystals form around dust particles in the upper atmosphere. These dust particles that come from these clouds are usually from meteor dust, all right? And they often appear between latitudes 55 and 70, all right? That's Canada, that's the UK, that's way up there. And they glow because although the sun has sunk below the horizon from your point of view, our star continues to illuminate these delicate clouds as they sit high overhead. So rather than normal clouds, they appear white with silver and kind of an iridescent look to them.
Robert Law sees them a lot.
Oh, good, Robert. Glad you do. Send us a picture one day. On a tripod, about a 30-second exposure at 1,000 ISO should do it. Fortunately, unlike many astronomical phenomenon, these noctilucent clouds are easy to see with the naked eye, requiring no special equipment, and they're stunning if you can photograph them. So glad that you can see them up there. As we're looking at the night sky and pondering the why and the wherefore, and I'm looking, oh, okay. uh, get out of that. I want you to think about what you're looking at is either reflected light, like these noctilucent clouds, or they have an original light that's happening to them. Their source of light, and that's what a star is. That's what our sun is a star. This our star is called the sun, just like our natural satellite orbiting Earth is called moon. Yet it is all the other solar system moons have proper names. Ours doesn't. We just call it moon. So get out and get you a little morning moonshine and look at those planets in the morning sky lined up there for you. Our evening sky's got kind of some dull constellations, except for the Big Dipper, as you can see it plainly to the north, and arc that handle and arc to the star Arcturus, a bright orange star in Boötes, the herdsman that looks like a snow cone or a kite, and you arc to Arcturus and speed on to Spica, the brightest star in Virgo, the Virgin. And those are about the brightest stars we have in the sky right now. But that's all about to change, because after midnight, we have the summer stars are in the sky, and they're starting to rise about 10:30, 11 o'clock, about when it gets good and dark. So, well, we hope that you all enjoyed staying a little star curious on Stay Curious. A few things you can see from your own backyard. So get you a lawn chair, sit back, get you some binoculars. And you want them binoculars to look at those UFOs that are going overhead. But if you see a blinking light on them, you know that it's an airplane. So, but we've got a great week planned for you. We hopefully have 3 speakers coming to you the next couple days here. We are looking at Tuesday having Ashley Nelson, who is a NASA public relations person. She's going to talk about Artemis and the rollout, when that's going to happen. Wednesday, we're going to have Mikey Haddad back to talk about payloads of the space shuttle. And Thursday, we're efforting Space Hipsters #1. Emily Carney's on the coast here, and we're going to try to get her in our studios on Thursday. And of course, Friday is going to be Triple T. So I'm grateful. I don't have to do a lot of talking. Maybe you are too, but we can't wait to see you this week on Stay Curious, and you won't regret it. But better yet, we'd love to see you in our museum to bridge the space between us.